Welcome to the SmartKeys podcast. Think back to the brilliant idea you had in last Tuesday's strategy meeting. Where is that idea right now?
Oh, I mean, if you're like most professionals, it's probably buried deep in a physical notebook you'll never open again.
Right, or it's lost somewhere in a cloud drive inside some document vaguely titled, like, Meeting Notes Final.
Exactly. It's a classic problem.
Yeah, so today we are going to fix that broken pipeline. We are doing a deep dive into a really comprehensive playbook from Felix Römer over at smartkeys.org.
It's titled Digital Note-Taking Mastery.
Yes, and our mission today is to extract the strategic insights from this source to elevate your entire approach to business intelligence.
Because that missing idea from Tuesday, that's just a symptom of a much larger crisis in the modern workplace.
Oh, for sure.
We operate under this false assumption that capturing information is the exact same thing as actually utilizing it. And the shift we need to make, which this playbook outlines so well, is moving away from simply hoarding pages of text.
Hoarding is the perfect word for it.
Right. We need to move toward instant recall. If your notes don't seamlessly translate into calendar events, actionable tasks, or shared momentum for your team, they are just digital clutter taking up server space.
The analogy I always come back to is looking at the daily flow of business information like you're trying to drink from a fire hose.
Good luck with that.
Exactly. Emails, quarterly reports, strategy briefs, it literally never stops. And for a long time, our solution was to try and catch all that water in a bucket by just, writing everything down.
Which is exhausting.
It is. But this source acts as a blueprint for building a strategic valve. We want to control and direct that flow.
And what's fascinating is that before we even get into the heavy software or the methodologies, the foundation actually starts with physical hardware.
Right. You have to match your physical tool to your daily professional habits. But let me push back on this right out of the gate.
Okay, go for it.
In an environment where we all type, like over 80 words a minute, why does the physical writing experience even matter? Why do we need that tactile paper feel as a professional?
Well, you have to look at the psychology and the neuroscience behind the physical act of writing. A brightly lit laptop screen is, it's inherently an environment of high cognitive friction, but it's disguised as productivity.
Disguised because you feel like you're doing stuff.
Right. When you are typing on glass, dealing with a dozen browser tabs and fighting off notification badges, your brain is locked in this constant battle against task switching.
Oh, totally. The ping of a new email just derails everything.
Exactly. So writing by hand, especially on a surface designed to mimic the exact latency and drag of real paper, it anchors you in a state of cognitive flow.
So the friction of the stylus actually forces you to slow down.
Precisely. The slight physical resistance of a textured screen slows your hand down just enough to match the natural speed of your contemplative thought.
It forces you to synthesize what you are hearing in a meeting, rather than just transcribing it blindly like a court reporter.
Yeah, and that is exactly why the e-ink digital notebook ecosystem has exploded recently.
Okay, well, let's break down that ecosystem, starting with the Kindle Scribe.
The Scribe is interesting. Amazon clearly designed this as the reading-first choice.
Yeah, it has a massive 10.2-inch screen and pushes 300 pixels per inch.
Yeah.
Which, for anyone wondering why that specific number matters, 300 pixels per inch is the visual threshold where the human retina just stops seeing digital pixels.
It just looks like solid ink.
Exactly. It drastically reduces eye strain during long sessions.
And where the Scribe truly justifies its place on a desk is how it handles margin notes. You can finally annotate directly onto Kindle ebooks and PDFs.
Which is huge for research.
Oh, absolutely. If you're a lawyer reviewing a 100-page contract or an analyst tearing apart a competitor's financial prospectus, your handwritten thoughts stay permanently locked to the exact paragraph you are analyzing.
But the Scribe kind of hits a wall when it comes to interoperability.
The walled garden, yeah.
Right. The glaring limitation for a business user is that walled garden. There is no native sync for Dropbox, Google Drive, or Microsoft OneDrive.
Which is tough. You are forced to route your sensitive corporate files through Amazon's ecosystem.
Which is a massive roadblock if your team collaborates natively in Google Workspace,
And that friction is exactly why professionals whose primary goal is uninterrupted drafting, they often pivot to the Remarkable lineup.
Oh, the Remarkable devices are stunning.
They really are.
Yeah.
You have the flagship Paper Pro at 10.8 inches, the highly portable Paper Pro Move at 7.3 inches, and the classic Remarkable 2.
And the defining characteristic across all of those is an absolute, uncompromising dedication to a distraction-free environment.
Right. You literally cannot check your email on a remarkable.
Which feels like a superpower these days.
It's a feature, not a bug. Because it runs such a minimalist operating system, it just sips power, giving you up to 2 weeks of battery life.
2 weeks is wild.
Right. Picture sitting in a quiet room for 3 hours, drafting a complex marketing narrative without a single pop-up breaking your concentration.
That sounds like a dream. Taking a slightly different angle, though, we have the Supernote A5 and A6 models, which the text praises heavily for their organizational strengths.
Supernote has a very loyal following.
Yeah, and what caught my attention here wasn't the screen, but the actual mechanics. They use expandable micro SD storage and ceramic nib pens.
The storage aspect solves a very real workplace anxiety.
Oh, running out of storage in the middle of a client discovery call.
And frantically trying to delete org files while pretending you're still listening, it is a nightmare.
So expandable memory totally prevents that.
It does. And the ceramic nib changes the tactile feedback loop entirely. You know how traditional plastic styluses wear down like a real pencil?
Yeah, and you have to constantly buy replacements.
Exactly. The ceramic nib never wears out. It provides a consistent, smooth stroke that requires zero maintenance. It is an industrial tool built for heavy daily use.
Now, I was looking at another device mentioned in the text, the Kobo Libra Color, and the trade-off there really fascinated me.
The color e-ink.
Right. It introduces Color e-ink, which sounds like an obvious upgrade. You get color-coded highlights for your charts, things like that.
But there's a catch.
Exactly. Adding that feature actually degrades the core experience a bit. The contrast drops, the background looks a bit grayer than a crisp monochrome screen, and the battery takes a hit.
It's a great example of needing to weigh a flashy feature against your actual daily workflow needs. Color e-ink is still an early-stage display technology.
Yeah, so if your daily work doesn't heavily involve visual assets like bar charts or color-coded blueprints, you are taking a hit on reading clarity for a feature you won't fully utilize.
Right. Of course, some people want the best of both worlds, which brings us to the hybrids and smart pens.
Right, like an iPad paired with an Apple Pencil. It gives you incredibly fast multitasking, but, well, you're back to staring at a backlit LCD screen.
Risking massive eye fatigue.
Yeah. Then you have the Booksnote Air 4C, which runs a full Android tablet operating system on an e-ink screen.
It is versatile, but again, you are reintroducing the very apps and distractions you were trying to escape in the first place.
Exactly. So for professionals who refuse to abandon the tactile joy of actual paper, the source highlights some brilliant bridge technologies.
Like the Rocketbook system.
Yes. It uses reusable physical paper.
Yeah.
You write with a special pen, snap a photo with your phone to blast the page to your cloud storage, and then you literally wipe the notebook clean with a damp cloth.
Though having to manually scan every page introduces its own kind of friction, I think.
That's true, which is where smart pens like the Neo Smart Pen M1 Plus and the Moleskine Smart Writing Set come into play.
Those are wild.
Yet you are writing in a physical paper notebook,
Okay.
but a tiny infrared camera inside the pen digitizes every single stroke in real time.
So by the time the meeting is over, your handwritten notes are already fully searchable text inside your digital ecosystem.
It is arguably the lowest friction way to cross the analog to digital divide. But, it doesn't matter how perfectly your pen captures your handwriting if those notes just vanish into a digital void.
Right. The hardware is just the net. The software is how you actually sort the catch.
Exactly. So let's move into the software ecosystem. The retrieval layer, where these ideas actually live and grow.
And the methodology begins with software selection. The critical mistake people make here is treating all note apps as equals.
Which they absolutely aren't.
No, the playbook categorizes them based on their specific utility. Let's start with Quick Capture.
Okay, the recommendations here are Google Keep and Apple Notes.
Yeah, and the strategic value of Google Keep isn't just that it gives you 15 gigabytes of shared drive space, it's that it lives right inside the sidebar of your Gmail interface.
Oh, that's incredibly useful.
Right. If you're reading an email and have a sudden thought, you don't even have to open a new tab.
And Apple Notes offers that same instant integration if you are entrenched in the iOS ecosystem. But for deep, free-form work, the playbook points to Microsoft OneNote.
OneNote is distinct because it operates on an infinite canvas model. You aren't constrained by an 8.5 by 11 page boundary.
Right. You can drop in a PDF, type a paragraph next to it, embed an audio recording from a meeting, and draw an arrow connecting them all with your stylus.
It mimics a chaotic, sprawling desk, but with an underlying search engine making sense of the chaos.
Then you have Notion, which has basically taken over the corporate world for team collaboration and structured data.
It really has.
It's highly customizable, free for personal use, and they offer a $10 a month AI add-on that will actually read your meeting notes and automatically generate a polished summary and action items.
Which is incredible. But on the far end of the spectrum, for the power users, you have Obsidian and Joplin.
Okay, let's talk about those.
These tools prioritize data sovereignty through local storage. Your files live securely on your own hard drive, not on a tech giant's server.
Which is huge for privacy.
Exactly. And they rely heavily on Markdown and bidirectional linking.
For anyone not deep in the tech world, Markdown is basically a super simple way to format your text, like making things bold or creating headers, just by typing a few symbols so your hands never have to leave the keyboard to use a mouse.
It keeps you in the flow.
Plus, it future-proofs your text because it's universal, not locked into a proprietary app format.
Yeah.
But let me jump in with a practical challenge regarding these apps.
Okay.
If an app like Notion is so incredibly powerful, I mean, it has relational databases, AI summaries, team wikis, why wouldn't I just use Notion for absolutely everything and avoid the headache of jumping between different apps?
That is the most common trap professionals fall into, and it violates what the playbook calls the speed-to-note principle.
Speed to note.
Yes. The absolute golden rule of digital capture is that you must be able to record a fleeting thought in under 5 seconds.
5 seconds is fast.
It is. A heavy, database-driven application like Notion requires mental and digital friction. You have to wait for it to load, navigate to the correct workspace, find the specific project database, and click New Page.
And by the time you do all that, the brilliant idea you had while waiting in line for coffee is just gone. Your working memory just drops it.
Exactly the problem. Friction is the enemy of capture.
Right.
This is why the strategic recommendation is a 2-app system. You want a heavy-duty app like Notion or Obsidian for your structured, deep work, paired with a lightweight, instant open app like Apple Notes for capturing raw, on-the-go thoughts before they evaporate.
Okay, so we have the tablet and we have the apps. But buying a treadmill doesn't make you an athlete.
Great point.
The real competitive advantage lies in the methodology you apply to these tools. Think of your note-taking system like a massive, state-of-the-art warehouse.
I like that.
If you just open the loading dock doors and throw boxes inside haphazardly, well, inventory goes in, but you can never find it when a customer actually needs it. You need aisles, you need barcode scanners, and you need a ledger.
Extending that metaphor, the digital infrastructure for your warehouse relies on a trio of elements that supercharge recall: search, tags, and backlinks.
Search is the baseline ledger, obviously, but it requires discipline to work. The playbook advises using highly descriptive titles and ensuring the very first line of your note acts as a miniature summary.
So when you search a keyword 6 months from now, you want to be able to scan the preview snippets and know exactly what the note contains without having to open 20 different pages.
Exactly. And tags act as your aisle signs, grouping related concepts across different time periods. And backlinks are like the forklift paths connecting related materials together.
Bidirectional backlinks are truly revolutionary for business intelligence.
How so?
Imagine you are in a one-on-one meeting with your lead developer, Sarah, and you discuss Project Alpha. You put the word Project Alpha in brackets to create a backlink.
Okay.
Now, whenever you visit the main Project Alpha page, it automatically shows you a list of every single meeting, research note, or stray thought where you ever mentioned it.
Wow. So the context travels with the idea.
Exactly. It builds a web of knowledge rather than just a rigid hierarchy of folders.
That sounds incredibly powerful. But honestly, I can already hear people groaning at the maintenance of it. Doesn't meticulously tagging and linking every single thought turn into a full-time administrative job?
People worry about that, yeah.
I feel like I'd spend more time organizing my notes than executing my actual work.
You are identifying the architect trap, where the system becomes more important than the output.
Right.
But the playbook is fiercely practical here. It says, keep your tags incredibly light. Do not build a massive complex taxonomy that requires a manual to understand.
That is a relief.
Use short, memorable tags and start with a strict rule of applying just 1 tag per note. You are trying to build a fast memory network, not index the Library of Congress.
That makes the barrier to entry so much lower. Another way to reduce that friction is through templates. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Having a pre-built structure for weekly team syncs or client discovery calls ensures your future self doesn't have to decipher what the context was. The template forces you to capture the date, the attendees, the decisions made, and the next steps every single time.
Templates build consistency, but, even the best structured system degrades without routine maintenance. Information rots if it isn't reviewed.
That sounds ominous.
It's true. Which brings us to the core engine of the methodology, the weekly review ritual.
Walk it through what that actually looks like in practice.
It is a non-negotiable block of 20 to 30 minutes, usually on a Friday afternoon. You sit down and quickly scan the pages you've generated over the past week.
Are you reading everything word for word?
No, you are not deeply rereading everything. You are simply hunting for open loops. You extract the unmade decisions, pull out the actionable tasks, and build a highly focused to-do list for Monday morning.
Okay, that makes sense.
And the most brilliant microhabit the author suggests is writing a one-sentence summary at the very top of each page during this review.
I love that. A one-sentence summary at the top means a year from now, you never have to squint at 3 pages of messy handwriting just to figure out the outcome of a budget meeting.
Exactly. It is an incredible gift to your future self.
Now, beyond the daily habits, the playbook also takes a hard look at the business economics of these systems, specifically the total cost of ownership.
Because the tech industry loves to obscure costs.
They really do. It is tempting to compare the upfront hardware price of an iPad against a remarkable, but you are only looking at half the equation.
Hardware is a capital expense, but software is increasingly becoming an endless operational expense through subscriptions.
And those hidden costs compound fast.
A cheaper tablet that locks you into a mandatory $10 monthly app fee will easily cost more over a 3-year life cycle than a premium device that includes free, comprehensive software.
You also have to monitor storage tiers. Microsoft OneNote might be free initially, but if your database grows beyond 5 gigabytes, suddenly you hit a paywall.
And more insidious than subscription fees is vendor lock-in.
Oh, that's a big one.
Data portability is a critical aspect of business continuity. The playbook strongly warns against committing years of corporate intelligence to a proprietary platform without a clear exit strategy.
So what's the solution?
You must choose tools that allow you to bulk export your entire database into universal formats like simple PDFs or Markdown files. If a hot new startup suddenly gets acquired, pivots its business model, or quadruples its pricing, you need the power to pack up your data and walk away seamlessly.
Right, so we've covered the tactile hardware, the strategic software, and the methodologies. Let's bring this down to earth and synthesize a final, actionable setup from this playbook.
Let's do it.
What does a fully integrated, frictionless workflow look like for a professional starting tomorrow?
Based on the insights from the text, the most effective approach is often a hybrid handoff.
A hybrid handoff? How does that work?
Step 1 is consumption. You might use a Kindle Scribe to comfortably read dense industry reports and highlight key metrics directly on the PDF.
Right, getting the input.
Step 2 is synthesis. When it is time to draft your own quarterly strategy, you transition to the deeply focused offline environment of a remarkable tablet, drafting without the ping of emails.
And the third step is the permanent archive.
Correct. You take those polished, finalized thoughts and funnel them into a centralized, highly searchable database like Google Drive or Obsidian.
So the messy deep thinking happens on specialized low-distraction hardware, but the permanent business intelligence is stored in a frictionless software web.
You nailed it.
And to test whatever system you ultimately build, the author issues a fantastic challenge. Try finding the exact same note 3 different ways.
I love this exercise.
Yeah, try finding last Tuesday's meeting note by searching its title, then try finding it by clicking its tag, and finally try navigating to it by the date it was created.
Building that muscle memory is crucial. If you trust that your system will hand you the exact information you need within seconds of needing it, you will actually use it.
Trust is the metric that matters. A system you don't trust is a system you will abandon.
Exactly.
Spending all this time unpacking how to build a flawless, instantly searchable second brain to house our knowledge, it brings up a really provocative underlying question.
What's that?
If we are systematically offloading all of our factual recall to perfectly organized digital databases, how does relying so heavily on silicon change the way our biological brains process memories?
Wow. We are fundamentally outsourcing the storage layer of our intellect.
Right. Are we making our natural memory lazy?
Yeah.
Or, by trusting a digital system to securely hold all the raw data, the dates, the names, the project specs, are we actually freeing up our biological processing power?
That is a great perspective.
If your brain isn't burning energy trying to remember what was decided in a meeting 3 weeks ago, maybe it finally has the bandwidth to recognize a high-level pattern and generate a truly creative breakthrough.
It is the difference between using your mind as a hard drive versus using it as a processor. The less you have to store, the faster you can compute.
That is something to seriously ponder the next time you find yourself tagging a document. Thank you so much for tuning into the Smart Keys podcast. We appreciate you joining us for this deep dive into a master playbook.
It's been a great conversation.
Be sure to hit subscribe on your podcast app so you never miss a deep dive. And I highly encourage you to read Felix Römer's full article, Digital Note-Taking Mastery. You can find the direct link right there in the show notes. Until next time, keep building that strategic valve and see if you can find your notes 3 different ways today.